live stream. Hope you all doing well. I hope you all enjoyed Trump's inauguration and inauguration day. We've got a lot of news to cover. Just before I get into the news and get into today's stream, just go ahead and type 1 in the chat if the mic's working well and the stream's playing well for you guys. Welcome Papa One, welcome Martin to the live stream. For all those that are joining now, we'll just give it a minute or two for everyone to join the stream and for YouTube to start putting the stream out there. Go ahead and please like it. Thanks for that, Martin. Yes, in today's video, we're going to be going over Trump's executive orders, what it means for you, what it means for the markets. We're going to be going over the meme coin, pump and dump, Trump's meme coin that has quickly collapsed after his inauguration. It was very strange that his wife, Melania Trump, created her own coin, because once she did that, then Trump coin crashed. Again, we'll also be going over the World Economic Forum, and it's very interesting. A lot of leaders weren't at the Economic Forum or are not going to attend, which is showing a lot of politicians knowing that they're getting bad press by going to the World Economic Forum. We'll be going over those executive orders that Trump's passed on inflation, immigration, and EVs. Also, which is absolutely crazy, something that happened, Biden pardoned his family in the final minutes of his presidency. Not only that, but he also pardoned the Jan 6 committee and a lot of the corrupt officials in the establishment. We'll be going over Trump pardoning the 1,500 Jan 6 political hostages, as some people calling them, and his plan to refill the petroleum reserves. We've also got some economists predicting that the Federal Reserve interest rate next move could be higher, not lower, and we'll be going over TikTok's ban. So again, just giving it a minute for everyone to join the stream so I don't have to repeat myself. Welcome, Alex. While we wait for everyone to join the stream, we can bring up the crypto markets. We can see Bitcoin hit an all-time high today. It did go up to around 109,000 per coin. XRP up a couple of percent today. But again, while we wait for the stream, Doge is down a bit, 4%. We can see the chart of Bitcoin here. It did top out at about 109,000. There was a big sell-off, maybe some people taking profits around 4:45 a.m. And now it is, that's Australian time, and now it's slowly recovering. Welcome to the stream, Gil. And this is Trump coin. I'll go ahead and refresh it to see if it's still selling off. Okay, it is selling off more. It's down 31% today. And you can see here it hit a peak of $75. Then there was a lot of selling. It did rebound a bit to about $60, but we can see now it has fallen to around $32. So a lot of people were worrying that this was going to be what many people in crypto call a rug pull. That's where you create a project that you're not really planning to do anything with the project. You're just simply making a meme coin to trade on the hype, to build up a lot of hype. No real fundamentals with the project, not very good tokenomics, because Trump or Fight LLC actually holds about 80% of supply, so they can flood the market with supply any moment they want. So a lot of people were worried that why is Trump doing a crypto rug pull as he's going to be inaugurated as a 47th president. Not only this, but we can see here Melina meme. That went up to $13, and now it's tanked to about $4, so, or $3.93. So it looks a bit like a pump and dump to me. What do you guys think? Again, just waiting for everyone to join the stream. Welcome, welcome, everyone. And then we'll get into the Then we'll get into the stories for today. So cryptocurrencies pumping. Futures are looking flat. Let's go into some headlines here. Should you sell your Apple stock? Trump hints at historic tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Elon Musk stamps place in Trump's orbit during inauguration. Dollar jumps after Trump threatens higher tariffs. We can go into this by Bloomberg. Trump's floated idea of universal tariff but says US not ready for it yet. And stocks set to rise. Dollar falls as Trump holds back on tariff shock and awe. And Trump says probably going to stop buying oil from Venezuela. Well, if they can become energy independent, I don't see why they should. It's absolutely insane what Australia's doing. Australia is one of the top exporters of LNG. And because they've sold out the country, they're now going to have to import gas. That's right, Australia having to import gas in 2025 was absolutely insane. Definitely a rug pull, shameful. Yes, I thought Trump's already a billionaire. He's got lots of billionaire friends. He can make money many ways. I have no idea why he thought this was a good idea to create a meme coin, which is meant to be a joke, for what will probably be his last term as president and cement his legacy. I think it was a very bad idea, and I don't know whose idea it was to do this, but it doesn't make him look good, especially, all the Democrats criticizing him, saying, he's just going to do it to enrich himself. Well, it does not look good at all. So XCN and XLM doing well too. Let's see what XLM. Okay, up about 4% today. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a rug pull yet. We'd have to see how it plays out. Obviously, there was a lot of people that brought it for $1. So we're going to be taking profits. If you've put $10,000 in, that went to $700,000. I definitely would have been taking profits if I've made a 7,000% return. But we'll have to see how this continues to play out. Rug pull or not, I didn't think he had to do this. And a lot of people in crypto are saying this is making crypto look like a joke. Them just making memes for the fun of it. So I think he just simply didn't have to do it. If he created a project that maybe had more fundamentals, something he really wanted to do to change the industry, or maybe something that was backed by gold or backed by a fundamental asset, or a project where they're really, trying to do something innovative, that might have been different. But just simply a meme coin, it's funny, but I don't think it's something appropriate for the President of the United States to do. Okay, we'll go ahead and see everyone joining here. Yep, welcome, Alan. Alrighty, let's get into this market wrap. So dollar jumps after Trump threatens higher tariffs. So tariff respite was short-lived as expected. Trump plans to enact 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada by Feb 1st. So let's see what else they got here. The greenback strengthened against almost all of its group of 10 peers after Trump says he was planning to enact the tariff on as much as 25% on Mexico and Canada. Shares in the mainland in China edged lower even after the president held off unveiling new China-specific tariffs, and treasuries rose. I'll go ahead and see if I can pull up the 10-year treasury in a moment. We can see this chart here. Dollar jumps with yields on Trump's tariff comments. Wow, that is a pretty big spike there. Okay, and we can see the 10-year treasury yield. And I'll get into later in the stream on why some Fed officials are saying that this could increase inflation. There might actually be, instead of rate cuts, rate increases in 2025. So they say the tariff respite was short-lived as expected, with the latest headline signaling the tariffs had been delayed but not averted. Canada and Mexico are in focus, but negotiation hopes are kept alive at China, suggesting China markets may still be supported. So Bloomberg's dollar gauge rose 0.7%, while the Canadian dollar slid 0.9%, and Mexican peso slipped 1.1%. And we'll see the 10-year treasury does hit 5%, even though the Federal Reserve is cutting interest rates. So investors had been on tenterhooks for the first executive orders to stem from the White House after Trump vowed to quickly implement his America First agenda. Since his November election victory, everything from the Australian dollar, which is definitely what we're seeing, to the European equities have been whipsawed on concern of widespread tariffs that would add global trade frictions, while the dollar surged as the Federal Reserve turned more cautious on easing policy. So there you have it. That's what happened with the dollar and with treasuries today. For those joining, we saw Trump coins fallen to around $34. Melania coin down to around $3.90. Actually, it was funny. I don't know. This is also what's even more crazy. First he did it, but then 24 hours later, Melania Trump did it, but they're competing against each other. It would have just made sense for Trump to, if he did want to create a meme coin, which he did, it would have just made sense for him to do it. Why would you make your wife compete with your meme coin? Because as soon as she did that, Trump coin dropped about 40 to 50% because people that missed out on the Trump meme coin rally, they tried to FOMO into Melania coin. So Melania Trump has launched a meme coin called Melania. The coin was announced on the eve of Donald Trump's inauguration as President of the United States. It comes days after President-elect Donald Trump launched his own meme coin, Official Trump. So that's exactly right. So we can see the tweet here. The official Melania meme is live. You can buy Melania now. Okay, what's the readers out of context? The Melania meme coin does not match their reported tokenomics, with 89% being held by a single wallet. Now, for those that are not too crypto savvy, normally when you launch a crypto project, and if you wanted to have good tokenomics, the creators may hold 30, 40, 50% max of the supply. But if you create a project and the creator has the majority of the supply, up to 90%, that's very, very worrying, because as they sell, there's not going to be enough liquidity and the price is going to tank. Buying this token is incredibly risky and will likely result in the loss of funds. So that's definitely true. But also with meme coins, you just never know. It could go up 1,000% over the next couple of months, or it could, lose 90%. Okay, so those are the meme coins. That's what's happening in the markets. Now let's go into this story. Look at this. We all know that the World Economic Forum is not popular at all. People aren't happy with the Great Reset. Whenever they see a new politician get involved with whatever country, if it's in the US, if it's in Australia, it's in Europe, they go to check, okay, is this new rising star politician part of the World Economic Forum? But we got this news today. As the World Economic Forum gets underway, the list of world leaders not attending Davos speaks volumes. So less and less people are attending, and also it's because the World Economic Forum tried to push globalism, but we're now starting to head to more nationalism and protectionism, and countries doing what's best for their country, not going along with the three-letter global organizations' agendas. So a slew of heads of state, politicians, and business moguls are set to attend the annual World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Attendees this year include Ding Xiaoping, the Vice Premier of China, Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky, Argentina's Javier Milei, and Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa. And US President-elect Donald Trump is also expected to address the event via video link. However, though, a number of leaders are sidestepping the forum, including, this is interesting, Indian Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping, and a handful of European leaders. So why isn't the Indian Prime Minister attending? Why isn't Chinese Xi Jinping President attending? And let's find out what European leaders aren't attending. So let's dive deeper in this report. So it's that time of the year when the great and the good gather. I don't know about the good, for the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. A slew of heads of state, politicians, and business moguls are set to attend the 4-day event in Alpine Resort, but what might be more telling is which leaders are sidestepping the forum. So let's find out which leaders that is. While Donald Trump, who is being inaugurated as US president on Monday, is expected to address the forum via live video link on Thursday, a number of key leaders will be completely absent from the event. So like we said, Prime Minister Modi, Xi Jinping, the French President Macron, Italy's leader Giorgia Meloni, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Wow. Okay, I thought Keir Starmer would definitely be there, kissing the World Economic Forum ring. Okay, so this is very interesting that they're not attending, and let's see if there's any reasons why. Of the group of the 7 G7 industrialized nations, which include the US, Europe's biggest economies, Canada, and Japan, the only head of state attending the summit in person is the outgoing German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Olaf. I've got to work on my pronunciation on these European and German names. So the World Economic Forum says this year's event is the 55th annual forum, which runs from Monday to Thursday. So we could have a lot more news come out of the World Economic Forum. And will convene close to 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries, with gathering demonstrating the critical need for dialogue in an increasingly uncertain era. Now that's definitely true. The world is definitely becoming more and more polarized. Countries, conflicts are definitely increasing. So there could be goods come out of it, but I think we all know that it is not very popular at all. It notes that 350 government leaders, including 60 heads of state and governments, will gather in Davos to address pressing challenges and shape emerging opportunities. So what opportunities are they going to be talking about? The theme of the event is collaboration for intelligent age, with the agenda focusing on 5 key areas: reimagining growth, industries in the intelligence age, investing in people, safeguarding the planet, and rebuilding trust. Safeguarding the planet, I think maybe that meant to be planet. Not all world leaders will be there to discuss these issues, however. Well, because, you know, since they did the crazy decision to promote you'll own nothing and be happy, a lot of people have lost all trust in the World Economic Forum, especially with their push during COVID. A lot of people just completely lost trust. So the leaders of Brazil, China, India, who gave keynote speeches 10 years ago, are not there now. Russia has not been welcome for some years now. Again, if they're wanting to create peace, they should invite everyone, even if they don't get along. Keir Starmer is not going to be there. Macron's not going to be there. A professor of global transformations and governance challenges told CNBC Thursday. So true, the Prime Minister of Spain is going to be there, and a couple of others, but the general picture of the heads of state of government that it's not the big players. So yes, if you're not having India, China there, Russia, you're missing out a lot. Brazil, a lot of it looks like a lot of the BRICS nations aren't really liking the World Economic Forum. I think if you went through the list of the G20, it's going to be a small minority who's attending. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat why you think these leaders aren't attending. So there is often no official reason given for the lack of participation in the World Economic Forum, but pressing domestic problems ranging from slowing economic growth to political crises are known to keep heads of government at home. Well, that's exactly right. Got the inauguration at the US, China. I did a video on China on the main channel. Their economy is imploding. India is probably just focusing on growing their economy. You know, a lot of countries have their own issues. They can't save the world at the moment. So in recent years, there has also been some ambivalence over attending an event that has been accused of being elite and out of touch. That's right. A lot of people think, you know, these are supervillains that are plotting to how they can control the world, and who knows, maybe those theories might be true. Well, I guess it's pretty factual. They are figuring out how to control the world or how to run the world. They say it's for the better, it's for the interest of the majority, but we always don't agree with the political elites. So the forum has repeatedly stated that it provides a space where stakeholders from across businesses, government, academia, civil society, media, and the arts can meet on a global, impartial, not-for-profit platform. These people, it says, come together to find common ground and seize opportunities for positive change on large global issues. Well, a lot of the issues that they thought were very important, like climate change, like vaccines, like AI, like central bank digital currencies, none of the people wanted. None of the people saw this as a big issue, but they were trying to push these issues on the people, and that's why I think a lot of leaders aren't attending. So in a statement to CNBC on Monday, the World Economic Forum said that while it always values the presence of key global leaders, the annual meeting's impact and ability to drive meaningful dialogue and action is defined by the collective efforts of a broad and representative community. Okay, so this year's program, the forum continued, is designed to address the most pressing global challenges, including economic fragmentation, technological transformation, which I think they're talking about AI, and climate action. Okay. So it looks like they're changing it from climate change to climate actions because a lot of their buzzwords do start to lose their effect. So to say, we recognize that global leaders face a wide range of commitments and responsibilities, and their absence does not diminish our ongoing engagement with their respective governments and institutions throughout the year, the World Economic Forum added. So we already went over who will be there. Let's see what else they've said. However, many of the Western institutions in attendance have in recent years found themselves on the wrong side of a push against globalization by populist leaders like Trump and countries like Russia and China. Well, I think that's exactly right. A lot of people want to do what's in their best interest for their countries. And, you know, we've all got, all these countries have their own issues. They can't save the world. And the issues that the World Economic Forum is trying to push is not the priorities for the local citizens. The WEF too has fallen foul this anti-establishment trend. Schulte noted that while the presence of leaders like Trump might not have been sought out in the past, there is now an acceptance that the world has changed. That's right. All the leaders that were part of the World Economic Forum were extremely left-leaning. They did not agree with anybody that had conservative views. If you did have conservative views, the World Economic Forum was pushing for censorship. They were trying to end free speech. And now all of a sudden they know, wow, okay, well, all the left-leaning politicians that are trying to censor free speech, censor freedom of expression, trying to put the globalist agenda before these own citizens' best interest. Well, now they're saying, okay, we better go ahead and invite these our conservative leaders. So I don't think that promoters of a liberal, open world economy speak with quite as much disdain, let's say, of contrary forces and views, as they might have done, say, before the global financial crisis, he said. I think there's a bit more modesty that no, it sometimes doesn't fully work, and no, we haven't always taken sufficient amount of those who feel excluded from us. So that's right. A lot of the people on the right, they felt excluded. They felt like we didn't have a voice, no one was representing us, or there was people representing us, but if you did, they were silenced, they were cancelled, they were censored, and they weren't invited to these forums. They just had their own echo chamber of crazy, radical ideas, and people did not like it at all, and now they're doing a complete 180. So there are various indicators that a site like the World Economic Forum isn't as a strong magnet as it might have been a couple of decades ago, which is definitely true. But the idea that it's no longer a magnet and the idea that it doesn't have certain areas within the World Economic governance where it can still be very strong, they say could be wrong. Well, I think it's very clear these political leaders aren't attending. It shows that the World Economic Forum is losing its power. A lot of people losing trust with it. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. So welcome everyone that just joined the live stream. I'll just have a drink of water before we get into our next story. Welcome, Bill. Yes, Bill's saying you'll get it. You Nasara. being the former central bank digital currency brought to you by Ripple and the IMF. Well, hopefully now with a big pushback on censorship, free speech, a lot of anti-nationalism and anti-globalization, a central bank digital currency will be pushed back quite a bit. I'm actually being more hopeful than I was a few years ago. A few years ago, I was like, wow, these global elites, they're just coming through like a freight train. Nobody's stopping them. Nobody's checking them. But we've seen with Trump come in, with Elon Musk now having X, and there's more free speech, even though, I don't agree with everything Elon Musk does. He did do a big service to not just America, but to the world, to give a platform to those that have conservative views, to those that want to question the establishment, question the global leaders. And it is giving me more hope now than I had a few years ago, that people are waking up. So let's now go into this next story, and we're going to react to this video. Okay. Welcome everyone to this next segment of the live stream and of this video. We're going to be reacting to President Trump signing executive orders before supporters, and we're going to go over how these executive orders could impact the markets, impact the country, impact you, and what the changes are going to be for 2025. So let's go ahead and get into this.
And there will be more than 100, possibly up to 200 executive actions and orders that he will sign over the next few days. Let's see if they announce each one.
CEOs and presidential memoranda.
You want to call it out? Do you want to say it? Do you want to say it?
Oh, if you want me to, sir.
Why don't you say what I'm signing?
Sure. The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
Okay. Welcome, Allison, to the stream. Welcome, Marsh, the new gold standard and quantum financial system. Here, XRP to become the new reserve currency. I don't know about that, but yeah, gold and silver are going well. Welcome, Bicycle, from one extreme to the other. Wings of the same wings of the same bird, he's saying. That can be true, and that's why, you can't just follow blindly anyone in politics or in the establishment.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The second item, President Trump, is a regulatory freeze, as you announced in your speech, preventing bureaucrats from issuing any more regulations until we have full control of this, the government and this administration.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and adjust this here so you guys can see a bit better. It's a bit clearer.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I have a pen?
The next item, sir, is a freeze
Did you hear that? He's like, sir, can I have a pen?
on all federal hiring, excepting the military and a number of other excluded categories, again, until full control of the government is achieved and we understand the objectives of government going forward.
We have never seen a day like this. We have never seen an inauguration like this.
Biden doing this? I don't think so.
Yeah. He still, no matter what, he still has to give a jab at Biden. He's like, could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Essentially, he is commander-in-chief, he is president, he is also a producer. As he talks about each one of these and asks the guy to speak up, saying what each executive order in action is. As we're listening, we'll dip back in, but joining us, Fox News chief political analyst Brit Hume and Mark Penn, former advisor and pollster for President Bill Clinton. He's CEO of Stagwell and chairman of the Harris Poll. Brit, I want to start with you. We've never seen anything like this. There's 20,000 people cheering for every executive order signed.
No, and you look at this event. What is this event? Well, it's not an inaugural parade. The weather took care of that. Is it really an executive order signing by the President of the United States? Well, yes, it is, but it's not like one, as you point out, Brett, we've ever seen. What this is a rally that he combines with other things. So these people, there was not going to be a parade for these people, and there are not nearly enough of them by his lights in this arena. It's too small for that. But what it is a rally, and that's what he does, and he has done more with the political rally as an instrument of power and popularity than any politician that I think we've ever seen, Brett.
That's exactly right. Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, he is very innovative with politics, should I say, or political campaigns. We saw him going on Joe Rogan. That's where he really put the nail in the coffin, where he destroyed Camilla with getting 50 million views. And it looks like he's joining the signing of these executive orders with a rally type event as well. So he definitely is always trying to change things up, not go down tradition, not just doing, what the status quo was before. He's definitely trying to innovate and do things that nobody else could definitely do right now.
And this is just yet another example of it.
And think about how much social media has been created today, just today, with the 47th
Hey, that's me, social media.
President of the United States. Mark Penn, speaking of social media, I follow you, and I saw you react after President Biden pardoned his family members, and it seemed pretty disgusted.
I am. These last-minute pardons, after all the elections are over, even of your family itself, after hiding and lying about everything that occurred relative to the Biden business, before any legal process whatsoever has done so. You've taken it out of the hands of all juries and all process, which probably wouldn't have happened anyway, to be honest, because of what's happened here. But yes, I think that Joe Biden has a 39% rating, 35% on things like inflation and immigration, and I think this further takes him down in the history books.
I think at the end of Joe Biden's presidency, he only had an approval rating of 25%, which was one of the lowest, or was the lowest in recent history. And we're going to go into a moment about the pardons he did last minute in his presidency, which is absolutely insane. Definitely shows that they're trying to hide something big, and it definitely shows that they are guilty.
I want to listen back in to see what the next executive order is here as he is signing them. We'll have a list. He also will go to the White House after this, before the three balls, and continue signing. Let's listen.
Sir, before we go back to the Oval Office to sign a large number of other items, is a directive to the federal government ending the weaponization of government against the political adversaries of the previous administration, as we've seen.
America. That's right, Frank.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Pretty fun job.
That's a lot of pens. Gonna need a lot of ink.
Brett, as I said, he's going to go from here to the Oval Office and continue signing as he's tossing some pens into the crowd. And you think about Trump supporters and all that they've been through.
Someone thinks he's heard his approval rating is more like 9%. Who knows? Probably depending on which poll you take.
Think about the lawfare. Think about this president sitting in a New York courtroom time and time again throughout this process. And still, despite all of those things and 2 assassination attempts, coming to this moment.
Well, exactly, Brett, and I don't think we can think of a president who has overcome more in his effort to get back to the Oval Office. Certainly, I didn't think after January 6, 2021, that this day would ever come where he would be able to do this, and yet he did it, and he did it by a combination of the sheerest sort of determination and grit, and refusal to be done in by the unbelievable anxiety that I think a normal human being would feel under that kind of pressure. And he somehow bore it all, and he's never lost his optimism about this, nor did his determination ever.
That's one thing I will give Trump. He's an incredible hard worker. Look at all the persecution he's come up against. They tried to destroy his reputation. They tried to throw him in jail. They tried to, whoever knows if it's just some crazy person acting alone or if it's part of the CIA, FBI, with his assassination attempts. But he's definitely battle tested. So that I will give him that. He's very hardworking. He is battle tested. You know, Joe Biden could barely stay awake during the inauguration. But Donald Trump is just a machine still, you know, he's getting older with age. You can definitely tell a difference between 2016, but he's still firing at all cylinders.
Ever waver or fade. And I think that that is a big part, Brett, of why I mean, his achievement is so extraordinary. Even though the margin was narrow, yes, it was, but he won all 7 of those battleground states, which I didn't think many people thought was possible. And having done that, I think people look at him and they say, wow, just look at what he did. And I think that applies across the political spectrum. There's simply no getting around the fact that this was an extraordinary achievement, and it established that his popular support and his program and he himself are real in terms of their electoral power, and so and that's why I think that the resistance to him, it hasn't crumbled, it probably never will, but it's nothing like what we saw 8 years ago when people were screaming in the streets and women were howling and wailing and being.
Yeah, that's right. I still remember those memes of. Do you remember that meme? That girl was like, no, when they found he got elected. I'm sure there is some, you know, purple-haired woman crying and screaming, and the Trump's in office now. But it is a bit of a difference. There is a lot more people that approve of him than don't, and a lot of the woke culture is getting replaced by more common sense culture.
Photograph with tears streaming down their faces and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Mark Penn, final word here. As we wrap up this event at Capital One Arena, the Senate has passed the Laken-Riley bill, 64-35, that required a number of Democrats to vote with it. Also, Secretary of State Marco Rubio received confirmation vote 99-0. So his Senate colleagues 99-0. Mark Penn, is there a chance that Democrats are going to shift and that they'll...
Okay, so that's Trump executive orders signed. We'll go over some more in a moment. Frank said it's nice that he tossed the pens to the crowd. Usually they give them to political donors. Yes, it was nice of him to do. He definitely is a lot more for the people. You know, you may think he's not, which, but I think he is a lot more for the people than Biden definitely was. So let's go into this next story here, or continuing on this story with the executive orders and how they're really going to impact the markets. So let's go into here, Market Watch. So Trump's day one executive orders target EVs, inflation, immigration, and here's what could come next. So let's see what's coming next and how it's going to impact the markets here. So America has formally made Donald Trump president again, and the billionaire Republican announced executive orders on illegal immigration and energy policies after being sworn in. I'll highlight it here so maybe it's a bit easier for you guys to see. He said, today we'll sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. And that's what I think we need more of. You know, there is a lot of polarization. There's a lot of people that go too far on the left. There is people that go too far on the right. We just need more common sense approach. And I think that's what this election was about. All those people that were in the middle that could easily get swayed, they saw how far the left went, how crazy they went, and they said, let's just bring it back more to the middle and have just some common sense on these cultural issues. Trump said at midday Monday, becoming the second... It became only the second U.S. president to serve non-consecutive terms after Grover Cleveland did in the late 1800s. So make no mistake, what Trump did was historic. What Trump did was amazing. You know, and that's why I said I respect his work ethic, respect his hustle. I respect that he's battle tested, that they did everything, all attacks that they could with his reputation, with trying to throw him in prison, with trying to assassinate him. He still kept coming. He didn't take a backward step, and you have to respect him for that. Welcome to the stream, all those that are joining now. His administration day one actions tied to immigrations are having some immediate effects. For example, a government app called CBP One that allows migrants to enter the US legally with eligibility to work has been shut down, with existing appointments cancelled for its users. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that and how this immigration will affect the labour market, because the reason I think why the left were pushing so hard for immigration, illegal immigration, was so they have cheap labour. Remember, it was the Democrats that wanted to keep slavery. And what have they been pushing for? Illegal immigration to have cheap labor for these big corporations. And just because they're a Democrat doesn't mean they don't have big political donors. I think Kamala had about 80 billionaire donors to her political campaign. That was even more than Trump, even though he's a billionaire and known for, or people accuse him of just trying to enrich his billionaire friends. Well, Kamala Harris actually had more billionaire donors than Trump. But Trump has ordered tied to energy policy were expected to take time to have an impact. Trump said in a wide-ranging inauguration address that his first order would be to declare a national emergency at the southern border, which is definitely what they need to do. It's gone insane how many millions and millions of illegal immigrants has crossed the border. We've seen, look at the crime that's happening in New York. Literally people being set on fire. Every time you go on the subway in New York, you're not knowing if it's going to be your last ride in the New York subway. We're seeing the homelessness crisis, the crime crisis in California. We're seeing people looting after the wildfires. We're seeing these illegal immigrants setting fires in California. It's just gone completely out of control, and they have to do something drastic. The president also said he'll direct his cabinet to defeat inflation and will declare a national energy emergency to address escalating energy prices that helped cause the inflation crisis. So, yes, they should try to make the US energy independent. We should be doing the same in Australia with stop selling off our LNG and then having to import it at more expensive prices. So that's something he should definitely be doing. So he said, with my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping the sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice, Trump said. So that's right. They should let people have the freedom of choice on what they really want to drive, not force people to drive these EVs. We'll go ahead and keep reading it. I'll just highlight it so it's easier for you guys to see. So Trump and his fellow Republicans have blasted the Biden administration tailpipe emissions regulation as an EV mandate. Now, the rule rolled out in March calls for automakers to sell more EVs and hybrids over time, though it drew election year tweaks after lobbying by car dealers and other industry players. It's not a true mandate for buyers in 2025, and it can be reworked, but likely won't occur quickly, as MarketWatch noted. In a similar vein, Trump's energy emergency will likely have little to no impact on gas prices or fuel prices in the short term, their analysts are saying. A president can deregulate, but there's no direct action that can be issued requiring oil companies to raise production, the analyst said. Other analysts have said that Trump could deliver lower prices for fossil fuels for shares of oil and gas companies, but mixed performance for shares of oil and gas companies. Trump had long been expected to go big on executive orders and other actions on Monday. An incoming White House official said 10 immigration orders were among those coming Monday, according to multiple published reports. So an illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin processing the returning of millions and millions of critical aliens back to the places where they came from, Trump said during his inaugural address. And, people are saying it's inhumane, but coming to a country illegal is illegal. Make, crime illegal again. It's crazy. You know, if they don't want to be deported, well, don't come to the country illegally. I'm just going to have some water here. I'm losing my voice. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. All right. Well, let's get into this next story of Trump responds to Biden's last minute.
Some breaking news, Kristen. I believe you just received a text from the president himself with his reaction to President Biden's, the president-elect himself with a reaction to the Biden pardons.
I did. I just received a text from President-elect Donald Trump. He says this, quote, "It is disgraceful. Many are guilty of," all caps, "major crimes, DJT." So this is coming in just right now, and it echoes some of the backlash that we are hearing from Republicans, some of his Republican allies, essentially saying these pardons by President Biden of the January 6th committee. Remember, President-elect Trump told me when I interviewed him in December they should all go to jail. Didn't lay out what the crime was, but this is his reaction.
We can talk about it. We have a moment or two here as we await the greeting of President Biden, who issued those pardons this morning, and the president-elect. But just to remind, if you're just joining us as we watch Inauguration Day unfold, President Biden and his final actions before he leaves office in a couple of hours from now has issued preemptive pardons to a number of figures, Dr. Anthony Fauci among them.
So, yeah, Fauci. Okay. Turn that monitor off. This is absolutely insane, everyone. Everyone's accused Fauci of being corrupt, of taking donors, or from spreading misinformation and lies about COVID origins. And many people aren't happy with him, but now he's getting a pardon. So it does not make him look innocent at all.
General Mark Milley, all of the members and staff committee of the January 6th Investigatory Committee in Congress. And so this is what Donald Trump is now reacting to, saying that he finds it to be a disgrace and that he thinks they were guilty of crimes, which suggests that potentially he did think they should be prosecuted, something that many of his allies said these pardons weren't necessary.
Exactly. And when I interviewed him, I said, are you going to direct your attorney general, your FBI director, to actually go after members on the January 6th committee if you think they should be in jail? He said point blank, I think they should be in jail. Didn't say what the crime was. He said, no, they'll look into.
We'll go into Trump pardoning them in a moment.
What they think is appropriate. Now, just the mere fact that he's saying out loud as the president-elect he thinks they should be in jail is significant. And that is likely what is behind President Biden's decision to pardon these people, to save them the strife of having to defend.
Are they serious? These people trying to defend them. That's absolutely insane.
Themselves legally, but Hallie, to the point that you made earlier, politically, this is significant as well.
I just want to mention we've got live pictures here, and we see some of the members of the Trump family, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, and their children entering. I
think that's enough of mainstream media. Can't stand it. But we'll go into this article, this report here. So look at this. Biden pardons his family in final minutes in office. So this, I was watching the inauguration live, and this was breaking news, and I thought this was absolutely insane. He's doing this in the final minutes of his presidency. So President Joe Biden issued primitive pardons for several family members, citing concerns that they'll be targeted by baseless, politically motivated investigations. I don't know about you guys, but do you think these are baseless investigations? We saw the text messages, 10% for the big guy. Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan and admitted that the Biden administration came into his office and told them to censor the laptop story. I don't think it's baseless at all. So the White House announced that the pardons just minutes before President-elect Donald Trump entered the Capitol to be sworn in as the next commander-in-chief. So let's go into the names of the people who he pardoned. This is also after he pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. So Biden pardoned his brother, James Biden, James' wife, Sarah Jones Biden, his younger sister, Valerie Biden Owens, and Owens' husband, John Owens, and his other brother, Francis Biden. So why is he pardoning the Bidens if they've got nothing to hide? This is absolutely insane, everyone. I think we all know this family is very, very corrupt. They were doing a lot of dodgy business deals. They were using Biden's present presidency to get favors from governments. There's even some people with, Hunter Biden's dealings in Ukraine. There definitely needs to be an investigation, and Biden pardoning them last minute shows they do have something to hide. Now, some good news for patriots and for conservative and Trump followers. Trump pardons approximately 1,500 Jan 6 political hostages. So let's go into this video here.
Sir, first we have a list of pardons and commutations relating to events that occurred on January 6, 2021.
I'll turn it up.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people.
Whoa. Okay, that's 200.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Okay.
Nice to see you again.
So imagine all these people that have spent all these years in prison just for simply processing. Now, there was some people that did damage. There was some people that assaulted some people. But it's crazy that 1,500 of them were held as political prisoners.
So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly.
Yeah, that's right. I hope they come out tonight. Well, they'll all be very, very happy indeed. Neo says, that's fair. They're the real political prisoners, not Hunter, not Fauci. I think that's definitely true.
They're expecting it.
Okay, so that's very, very good news. Just looking at the report here. Early in the day, Trump told a crowd at the Capitol One arena that he was going to release our great hostages, referring to the Jan 6 prisoners. So there we have it. They're released. Now, like we were talking about earlier, Trump is vowing to refill the strategic petroleum reserves right to the top as China tanker rates soar. Now, I think this is definitely a good move because we're seeing geopolitical tensions absolutely soar, and the last thing you want when you're on the verge of a conflict, we hope there is no conflict, but if they do, you don't want to have your strategic petroleum reserves empty, which is what Biden did. And if he didn't empty them, inflation would have been much higher under his administration. So we'll have to see if this has an impact on oil prices, on gas prices, along with the tariffs. But this is definitely a good idea for him to do. And I hope, a Democrat doesn't get in office after the 4 years and just drain it again. AA Fauci can still be charged at the state level. Okay. So we can see this chart here. I'll go ahead and open in another tab so it's a bit easier to see. I'll move myself here. What? So strategic petroleum reserves, we can see here, it was drained through Biden's administration. They did slowly start to refill it, but this is at historic lows. And this is why inflation would have been much worse if they didn't drain this. But with Trump refilling it, it may cause prices to go up a bit. But we'll have to wait to see the impact of this. So as shown below, daily rates for very large crude carriers on the Middle East to China route surged 112% to 57,500. So I'll bring this chart up here. Supertanker rates on China routes double. Costs have surged since US imposed sanctions on Russia energy. So this is another black swan event that could happen for the markets if we see oil start to surge again. So the reason for the surge in tanker rates is that in recent days, major Chinese refiners have been rushing to buy crude from the Middle East, Africa, and the Americas to make up for the loss of Russia oil. So a VLCC from the US Gulf to China was hired for $9.5 million last week, compared to a $7 million range over the last couple of months. And shipping fixtures show India Oil Corp is also snapping up Middle East barrels, adding to the pressure. So separately, there's concern that tanker rates could remain elevated if Trump takes a tougher line against Tehran, which he has also promised to do. So that's something, I'm very interested to see what happens with Trump presidency. Is he really going to be the president of peace, or are more conflicts going to break out, especially with Tehran? They're saying rates could hold these levels if Trump dials up the pressure on Iranian oil shipments, which is more likely than not. So there we have it. Trump pardoning 1,500 Jan 6 political hostages, and he's going to refill the strategic petroleum reserves, and China tanker rates are soaring. So let's get into this next story of not just Biden pardoning his family, but he also pardoned Dr. Fauci, and not just Fauci, Mark Milley, and Jan 6 committee members. So that shows that they definitely were not up to any good.
It's a Fox News alert. President Biden, this just came across, just issues new pardons for Dr. Anthony Fauci. You could call these preemptive pardons. Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired four-star general Mark Milley. This just happened moments ago. It also includes the members of Congress and staff who served on the Select Committee and the U.S. Capitol, and D.C. Metropolitan Police officers who testified before the Select Committee. This as Trump prepares to take the oath of office in just a few hours.
Would that include Liz Cheney?
So
What
it's
a mess.
No, it doesn't. I guess,
Committee?
yeah, Select Committee.
I don't know if you remember, but Mark Milley, he told China that if Trump was going to attack China, he would go ahead and tell them. He was having phone calls with China. He completely betrayed his country, and he went insanely woke. I don't know if you remember him, that clip where he's saying, I want to know what white rage is. He went completely woke. He sold out his country. He betrayed his country, and he was a China shill.
Look, but
It's good to be back, Double A.
what does it say? Mark Milley, who is chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under both Biden and Trump, you know that 100%. What he's done in the past. You know that he was calling China, trying to putting down President Trump.
I mean, what are they afraid that Pete Hegseth is going to see when he goes to the Defense Department and look at the files and data?
That's right. Release the files. Trump said he was going to do this with 9/11, with RFK. He should release all these files. The Epstein, the Diddy files. They're very quiet since the fires in LA. They're very quiet on P. Diddy. Haven't heard a lot of things that's happening with P. Diddy. Probably because there's a lot of political elites involved with the Diddy parties.
There's been no talk of going after Anthony Fauci.
Well, Rand Paul is.
There may have been some senators, but the president himself has not said he wants to prosecute
and here's
Anthony Fauci.
Absolutely right. And here's the thing. You pardon somebody who's been convicted.
Right.
They haven't been
There's a
convicted.
confession.
They haven't been charged. This is crazy. It will be interesting to read the exact language, and because it just broke, we haven't seen it yet. But remember, when Hunter Biden was pardoned by his father, the language was extraordinary.
That's true. And it's funny. He was saying, I remember when he came in, he's like, I'm not going to pardon anyone. All these pardons are crazy. Sorry.
Because it essentially, we know some things happened during certain time periods, but this was a 10-year window. Anything he did during those 10 years was essentially it was a get out of jail free card. So it'll be interesting to see the language, the perimeters of what time we're talking about, and what it talks about. What he has pardoned them from.
His brother wasn't on that list.
Incredible.
He has 4.5 hours to pardon his brother.
Not yet.
I know that's going to get done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. By the way, the 51 intel agents who said that laptop was fake, I believe one of the executive orders is going to rescind their security clearance.
Security clearance away. But it's just so interesting to me that this is occurring right now. I mean, what
has it ever happened?
4 hours away from the presidency, and you see Maria landing right behind us.
Has it ever happened before that a preemptive pardon was pushed? A preemptive pardon. just in case I do something or you find something.
Right.
You can't do that.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
All right, everyone. Well, looks like my voice is going, so that'll have to be the end of the stream. But thanks for watching, everyone. You're awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.